Hi guys, this is Sam from Fluid Social talking to you as always from Rio de Janeiro. I'm topless because it's about 32 degrees and it's 10:30 in the morning. Today I'm going to talk about something that you all want to hear, or at least 90% of you are operating in this sort of area of the social and communication field, which is cold approach itself, the actual act of going out and cold approaching, and why it's so difficult. Why is that anxiety persisting? Why is it so difficult for you to go out and approach the women that you want to meet? So I'm going to go over this and shatter some of your narratives and shatter some of the things that probably make you happy in some ways, or at least make you excited. But as is always important to remember, it's better to be slapped by the truth than kissed by a lie. So let's begin. Cold approach is not as difficult as you think it is. Going up and talking to a woman in the daytime that you like the look of is not as difficult as you think it is. Now, the reason for this depends on something else. And the second thing, the thing that this depends on, is that cold approach is not as mind-blowing and as amazing as you think, right? So let me tie this together. You heap pressure on yourself. You pile pressure on yourself. When you go out in the street, you see a beautiful girl, and you imagine that going and talking to her is something that's going to change your life. It's going to change your reality. You think about it like everything else. This is so difficult because it's so amazing. It's so hard for me to do this approach because the rewards are so great. And in order to shatter one of these realities, in order to shatter the idea that it's difficult, you have to shatter the second one, which is that approach will not change your life. And it won't. I went out this morning, I went to the gym, saw an attractive girl on the way back, and went and approached her. And before I did so, I felt some level of anxiety. I was sweaty, I probably didn't smell too good, she was with a friend, she looked kind of edgy and cool. And some of obviously the trauma that you have from childhood resurfaces and you get a little bit nervous. But there's another part of your mind that says, go and do it, you've got to do it, you know it's the right thing to do, I'm your best friend, you are your own best friend. Go out there and do it, push past that fear, that anxiety. And so I did it. I didn't say much, I just said in Portuguese, hey, I just passed you and I thought you looked cool, I like your freckles. And she said, oh, I have a boyfriend. And in that moment I was like, okay, cool, have a nice day. I didn't really want to push it. I wasn't really feeling like sort of extending the social network at that time. And what I'm reminded of is that it wasn't difficult, right? Once you do it, it's not difficult. But what I'm also reminded of is that action alone didn't really change my life in any way. It gave me a little bit of energy. It made me feel good about myself that I was taking action. Maybe it even prepared this video for you guys. But it wasn't life-changing in and of itself. You have to understand that it's not that difficult to cold approach a woman, and that approach is not going to change your life. When you take the two of those things together, you have a solution to the issue that you're facing. But when one of those stays a reality, you thinking that you just have to go and approach this woman and suddenly everything's going to be easy, suddenly you're going to be happy, suddenly you're going to be confident, suddenly your whole life is going to turn upside down, is a happy fantasy. It's being kissed by a lie. And it's so common. It's so common for us to think, if I just make that £1,000,000, if I just make that money, if I just get in good shape, if I just start approaching women, everything's going to change. And it's not true. The one thing you take with you everywhere you go is your mind. You never leave your mind behind. And as long as your mind has thoughts and perseverations, happiness is always on the other side of that. True peace, calmness, and happiness. You may glimpse moments of it in meditation, but in reality, enduring happiness is always on the other side of the human condition, and therefore inaccessible to human beings in totality. So what this means, although it seems a little bit depressing, right? Maybe you liked the fantasy, maybe you liked the dream that this one approach is going to change everything, and if you can just work up the courage to do it, your whole life's going to flip itself on its head and everything's going to be amazing and you're going to be the center of social occasions, all the women are going to want you and life will be easy. It's not true. You have to remember that it's not true. The human condition does not allow for that reality, for that eventuality. And so what this means, now you know the reality, is that you can take a more stoic, mindful perspective on this and think about it just as getting in shape is not going to change your life on its own, just as approaching women is not going to change your life, just as that $1 million or pounds is not going to change your life. All of those together is what changes your life. All of those step by step, improving each day, focusing a little bit of your attention on each, the triad, the bright light triad of the wealth, the health, and the love. Getting those three together, your social life, your financial life, and your potential to build financial wealth, and your health, your physical and your mental health, meditation, staying in shape, going to the gym. That is the triad that you must focus on. Now, I must remind you why this is so important and why I think this is probably the most important topic that I can talk about, is because once you understand that this approach is not going to change everything, you take the pressure off needing to change your life. You take the eventuality of stepping into a new world once you've started approaching. Once you take away that dream, once you take away that narrative, all of the pressure on that single approach is taken away. Sometimes we like to sustain a fiction. We like the idea that if I just had £1 million, everything would be easy. If I could just approach women, everything would be good. Because it gives us something to hope for. It gives us that hope of a dream that doesn't exist. But deep down, we know it's not the case. We know we take our mind with us. We know that in the past, every time we've made little improvements in our life, it hasn't led to enduring, lasting happiness. It's just a step in the right direction. And that direction never ends. There's no destination. So, once you understand this and you take that action knowing that it's not going to change everything, you can begin again. You can step back into humility and say, this approach may not go well, but it doesn't really matter. If it does go well, it doesn't really matter. There's always another one that might not go well or might go well in the future. Shatter the illusion, step into the reality, make life easy for yourself, accept the tiny baby steps that lead in the right direction, and don't look for that all-access master key that's going to change your life in one day. Having said that, I feel amazing having done an approach in the morning. Beautiful girl on the beach in a bikini on Leblon Beach in Rio de Janeiro. If you can get out here, I highly recommend you do. It's the best place I've been this year, and I've traveled quite a bit. I'm going to be releasing more content. Again, I apologize for the absence. I'm releasing videos on the Loner to Lover Facebook group, link in the description. And I'm doing free 30-minute calls to answer any of your questions. So I want to give back to you guys again in my absence. I know I really appreciate you guys sticking by the channel even when I haven't been there. So get in touch with me. I'd love to talk to you guys, and anyone coming to Rio, get in touch and let's set up a call. Thanks guys. Sam out.